What a great crowd out there. I tell you, it was a little different not having to sing "O Canada" today. No, but before I start, actually, I want to tell you a joke that I heard at church last Sunday. The Reverend told us. And this is for you leadership candidates out there who I know have just been pounding the pavement back and forth from tip to tip. Apparently there was a priest who was doing the similar thing, or a reverend, I'm not sure which, and just out at every event, night after night after night. And finally he got to an event, something like this, and the one lady recognized that and said, "You know, would you like a cup of tea?" He said, "No tea." She said, "Oh, would you like a cup of milk?" And he said, "No milk." She said, "Well, would you like a little bit of scotch and water?" He looked at her and said, "No water." And so I can imagine you might be feeling that way soon. Anyhow, thank you very much, Marcia and Sharon, for your moving and seconding and your kind words, and to Parnell for your patience as we lined up the movers and the seconders as well. I did want to acknowledge the MLAs and former MLAs that are here tonight. Stephen Myers, who's of course the leader of the official opposition. And yes, absolutely. And I think Gordy Legg is here somewhere as well, former MLA. Yes, absolutely. And of course Leo Bagnum, right here in District 18. And our leadership candidates we have James Elward, Darlene Compton, and Rob Lance. Well, here we are. It's been almost 3.5 years since the last provincial election, and so I look back at my notes that I took while canvassing, and I watched the video of my nomination speech last time. I looked at the videos that I recorded during the election, videos with titles like healthcare and accountability, small business, investing in people, MLA communication, and empowering people. And then I look back, and the top 3 priorities on September 29th, 2011 that I picked were prioritize spending, small business, and communication. Does that sound familiar? Mm-hmm. These are the same issues we're facing today. We're not making a lot of progress. Sometimes it seems like nothing has changed. But of course it has, but not in a good way. The current government, as their first order of business, although they promised not to bring in the HST, that's what they did. The provincial debt, as we know, has increased by over $1 billion, and our taxpayer dollars continue to be spent on questionable initiatives. The latest being the PEI 2014 celebrations, $29 million, and with what lasting benefit? In District 18, communication with our MLA is still an issue. We don't see her out a lot, and by the way, does the Speaker of the House really need a dedicated executive assistant? Just saying. Citizens' voices do not appear to be heard by this government. I mean, the Plan B highway was built even after extensive public outrage. There should have been a Plan C, and in the future that will be Plan Conservative. Yes. Now it looks like we're facing a crisis in education. Right, with appointed boards and students who are underachieving. We can go on and on. Millions in failed lottery games, questionable credit card charges, and these sorts of things. So here we are. So what can we do to improve our government? Specifically, how do we stop running a deficit and putting our province deeper and deeper into debt? Well, let's face it, there's only 2 ways to address this. Either we decrease our spending or we increase our revenues, right? So I wanted to talk about how we could decrease our spending. When I speak with people at District 18, whether it be at the arena or at community events at church, in the grocery store, at the gas station, Everyone to a person, regardless of political stripe, agrees that our current government wastes money, and in many cases as taxpayers, we're really not getting the best bang for our buck. So here are three key areas that I would like to suggest we need to address. Prioritize spending to key government services like health, education, and transportation and the like. And then reduce or eliminate spending in most of the other areas, especially where government collides and competes with private industry. We need to empower frontline government workers to give feedback on how to improve their workplace and make it more efficient. They're the ones best positioned to know that. And we need to examine core government budgeting processes and procedures. We've all heard about that end-of-year rush to spend the money that's left in the budget, or it will be taken away for next year. And this is something that I would like at least to get to the bottom of why that exists and how we can improve it. And that's where communication comes in. So, as an MLA, in my mind, my main responsibility will be to speak with, email, text, tweet, message, and otherwise communicate what work is being done by government in these key areas. And most importantly, listen to feedback from District 18 as a two-way conversation. And this has to be done on an ongoing basis. It means canvassing between elections and holding office hours in the district at locations and times where it is convenient for people to meet. I believe it's the job of an MLA to meet with frontline government workers to discuss and understand their suggestions and communicate these back to senior bureaucrats, and then hold management's feet to the fire to make sure progress is made. Now, as an MLA, hopefully, I will not be a subject matter expert. On education, I'm not a teacher. On health, I'm not a doctor or a frontline health worker. Or even in transportation, I'm not a civil engineer. But it is my job to educate myself so I can understand the recommendations being made, set direction, and help make the right decision going forward. And I believe that innovation is needed, especially in the healthcare field. For example, in the telemedicine area. And there are many, many opportunities that are being overlooked. So, after collecting this information, it should be the job of government to create both a short-term and a long-term plan. Change is hard, but it's inevitable. And if we don't plan for change, we'll end up fighting fires, limiting our options, and outside forces will dictate how we must change. So over the long term, 10 years or more, I believe we need to reduce the size of our provincial government. We need to plan for that. This has to be planned carefully, working with unions and giving lots of notice, and it must be incremental change. But we need to start the process now. So, everyone awake out there? At the same time, we are prioritizing spending, cutting waste, and using suggestions from frontline workers to improve government, taking a new approach to budgeting and creating long-term plans. What can we do to increase government revenues? Well, there are probably about three choices. We can try to get more money from the federal government, we can increase taxes, or we can try to grow our economy and our tax base. So let me just make it clear. I believe that increasing taxes is not the way to go. There's already rumors that another Liberal government might consider raising the HST from 14 to 15%, and I will fight that change all the way. The current government has already done too much to raise fees and increase taxes, especially for businesses. Now, around 40% of the provincial budget currently comes from transfer payments from the federal government. And really, we've actually seen substantial increases in that money over the last several years, but we can't rely on that in the long term to solve our deficit problem. So, in my canvassing of District 18, people agree the best way to get more money for government and help reduce our deficit is by growing the island economy. This means increasing our population, growing the amount of money island businesses take in by exporting our products and services. So we have seen success in growing the island economy in the aerospace, biosciences, and information technology industries especially, but much of the corporate profits are sent off island. Also, time and time again, we've tried to lure corporations to PEI using labor subsidies and tax incentives, only to see the number of jobs created be much smaller than promised. And then these corporations that are headquartered off island simply pull up shop when the incentives end. What we need are businesses that are headquartered on PEI, whose owners are permanent residents of PEI, who want to stay here for the long term. Now, small businesses fit this bill perfectly. I mean, as Marcia said, District 18 is all about small business. Farmers, fishers, tourist operators, artists, woodworkers, niche manufacturing, writers, computer programmers, consultants. Small business can find a place in almost any industry. And small business, it is the lifeblood of District 18 and PEI. So, what can we do to increase the number of small businesses here in District 18 that bring in especially off-island income? Well, I believe that there are a lot of islanders who live away and want to come back to the island, and there are many non-islanders that want to live here too. In fact, I meet people all the time who've done that. They live across Canada, the United States, and the world, and they have an abundance of expertise and many contacts they can bring with them. Also, many really have built up equity in real estate, homes, and properties elsewhere that have appreciated in value, and they're looking for the chance to get that equity back out. Purchase a home and property in PEI and still have some cash left in the bank account, a substantial amount, because of the lower real estate prices here. So, as we've heard before, with small business, a little help goes a long way. And if we offer tax incentives on off-island income to small businesses, sole proprietorships and partnerships whose owners are permanent island residents, I believe we'll see an influx of people moving to the island, open small businesses, and it will help the small businesses that are already here. And these businesses are ones that will not pull up stakes when the tax incentives end, and whose owners will put money into the island economy, benefiting existing businesses who primarily serve on-island customers, hopefully resulting in more jobs and higher wages for current employees. Really, everybody wins. So, almost 3.5 years ago, I told the story about two frogs that fell in a fresh pail of milk with a nice thick layer of cream on top. One panicked and drowned, but the other one just kept on paddling slow and steady until the cream solidified enough that they could hop up on the floating butter and jump out. Well, many small businesses and entrepreneurs have been swimming for a long time now, and they're just waiting for someone to add a little salt to sweeten up that butter. Even small tax incentives will go a long way. So, to close, let me say that I am proud to be a progressive conservative because I believe strongly in the mission and values that are in our Constitution. And I just wanted to read these quickly as a reminder. Our mission as progressive conservatives is to form a fiscally responsible, socially progressive government that promotes individual achievement and personal responsibility, is accountable to its citizens, listens to its people, and embraces innovation, while preserving the best of our unique heritage and diverse cultures and learning from the past. And as progressive conservatives, we hold the values of democracy, accountability, responsibility, compassion, respect, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, stewardship of the environment, and patriotism. See, Parnell, I did read the Constitution. And of course, you can read the full Constitution on the PC Party website. So, right now, we are in the midst of choosing a new leader for our great party. And we have 3 excellent candidates in James Aylward, Darlene Compton, and Rob Lance. Yes. Excellent. There will be an election soon, and whoever the new leader is, I look forward to sitting at the table as part of a strong PC team with all these individuals, voicing the concerns of District 18 Rustico-Emerald and hopefully playing a key role in the new PC government. Really, I think you all agree that it is a great time to be a progressive conservative. So, I want to thank you all again for your support. I mean, we have an amazing team of people in District 18 PC Association. And the one thing that became crystal clear to me in the last election is that me as a PC candidate, I'm working for you, the people who have been dedicated progressive conservative members for years and years. And as the PC candidate, really, I'm a face up front, but I'm just the tip of the iceberg that is showing above the water. So, thank you all again for the great honor of being your candidate. I truly believe that the time is now for a PC MLA in District 18 and a PC provincial government, and I will give it everything I've got to make it happen. So, if you don't have a PC membership or have not renewed your PC membership, you need to do so tonight by going to see Cindy and Sue at this table over here and sign right up. Thank you very much.